You open your phone to do one small thing. Then you see someone younger, faster, sharper, already winning at the thing you still feel clumsy doing. Your chest dips a little. Your hand slows. And in that tiny, private moment, it feels easier to step back than to risk being bad in public. Why does one small miss feel so much bigger than it should? Most people think it is about confidence. That sounds right. But the real reason is stranger. Your brain is not built to love failure on day one, because for most of human history, messing up in front of other people could cost status, trust, and safety. So even a harmless mistake today can feel old, deep, and oddly personal. That is why a missed shot, a bad post, or one awkward meeting can feel like proof instead of practice. Have you noticed how fast one small mistake turns into a story about who you are? That story matters. In psychology, this is close to what Carol Dweck called a fixed mindset, which simply means you start to treat your skill like a trait carved in stone, instead of a thing that can grow with use. If you think ability is fixed, then every bad result feels like a verdict. If you think ability can change, then the same result becomes data. Same event, different meaning. Which version of the story does your mind rush to first? Your brain is a prediction machine. That sounds technical, but it's simple. It keeps making guesses about what will happen next, then compares those guesses to what really happens. When the guess is wrong, that gap is called a prediction error, which just means reality corrected your expectation. That gap is not always bad. In fact, it's often how learning starts. If nothing ever surprises you, nothing has to update. So what if the sting you hate is also the signal that change is happening? There is good research behind this. In studies on learning, the brain often pays special attention to error. One key signal is called error monitoring, which means your mind tracks when your action did not match your aim. Researchers have linked this to brain activity that rises right after mistakes, almost like an internal tap on the shoulder that says, "Look here, this part matters," not to shame you, to adjust you. If your mind can detect the miss, then your system can refine the move. What if being corrected is not the opposite of progress, but the shape progress takes? This is where micro-failures come in. A micro-failure is a small miss with a small cost. You send the email and it lands flat. You try to speak more clearly and you ramble. You lift badly, cook badly, flirt badly, start badly. It's not a life collapse. It's a tiny collision with reality. And tiny collisions are useful because they are survivable, which means your brain can stay in the lesson long enough to learn from it. Isn't that different from the way you usually read them? There is a concept from behavior science called exposure. That just means you face a thing in small doses until it stops owning you. It is often used for fear. The same logic helps with failure. When you fail in small ways and live through it, your nervous system learns that the heat passes. The body calms faster. The shame loses volume. The task stops looking like a cliff and starts looking like a skill. So the goal is not to never feel bad. The goal is to feel bad and keep moving. Could that be the kind of strength you have been missing? Another term for this is resilience. That simply means your ability to return after strain. Not to avoid strain, not to pretend it doesn't hurt, to return. And here's the twist. Resilience is not built by success alone. Too much smooth winning can make you brittle, because if your identity rests on always looking capable, then the first crack feels unbearable. Small failure, handled well, does the opposite. It makes you harder to scare. It teaches your mind that your worth survives your wobble. What becomes possible when you stop treating every stumble like a threat? This is why some people seem unstoppable. It is not that they enjoy losing. It is not that they feel nothing. It is that they stopped reading small failure as a stop sign. They read it as feedback. Angela Duckworth, known for the idea of grit, points to something close to this. Steady effort over time matters more than flashes of talent. Grit just means you keep going with care, even when the work gets dull or hard. And you cannot keep going if every miss becomes a moral crisis. Are you trying to protect your image or train your ability? Think about your day. The post you did not make, the call you did not return, the class you want to try once you feel more ready. The truth is, ready often comes after the awkward start, not before it. Action creates information. Information creates adjustment. Adjustment creates skill. Skill creates the quiet kind of confidence that doesn't need to be announced. So maybe the next small miss is not an interruption to your path. Maybe it is the path. You don't become unstoppable by avoiding failure. You become unstoppable by shrinking it, using it, and surviving it so many times that your fear can no longer pretend it is fate. One bad try means almost nothing. 10 honest tries can change your life. And the strange part is that the more room you make for tiny failure, the less power failure has over you. That's how the thing you dread becomes the thing that frees you. So the next time you open your phone to do one small thing and see someone younger, faster, sharper, already winning at the thing you still feel clumsy doing, remember this: the gap between you and them may not be talent. It may be the number of small failures they stopped running from. Your chest may still dip a little. Your hand may still slow. But now you know that moment is not proof you should step back. It is proof you found the edge where growth begins. You open your phone to do one small thing. This time, you do it badly on purpose and keep going.